What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put it on all so you get notified of all latest content as and when it drops on this channel. So, another fight going on this weekend is, the ever so talked about and the ever so controversial Rolando Romero versus Isaac Cruz. So, Isaac Pitbull Cruz. He's a fighter that's out of Mexico. He famously gave Javante Tank Davis all he could handle. He gave Tank Davis a good fight, a very competitive fight, and he won rounds off of Tank Davis. He made it very, very difficult for Javante Davis to get the W in that fight. So Javante Davis had to really work for his win in that fight. So he's a smaller guy. He's a pressure fighter. He's a combination puncher, and he brings it every time that you see Pitbull Cruz fight. He's a guy that brings the action. He brings the war to you. He's a proper Mexican. The way he fights, proper Mexican style. He gets from the word go, from the first bell. He gets in, he gets stuck in, and he just goes to work. Rolly Romero, he's a guy that's he's kind of a goofy guy in a way. He's a guy that has, he won his world title in a very, very controversial way against the older gentleman, Ismael Barroso. I think Barroso was about 40 at the time. And, he got probably the most controversial and one of the worst stoppages that I've ever seen in boxing. And it was mad because he was hurt by the older man in Barroso. He was, at least in my eyes and most observers' eyes, he was losing the fight, and he was hurt multiple times. And the minute he got some success and he hurt Barroso, the referee jumped in and took Barroso out. And for me, is yes, officially on record, he's a world champion, but to me, from what I saw, he was basically gifted his world title. It wasn't something that he really deserved based on the performance in that fight. He never rematched Barroso. He's a guy that he comes with a lot of power. He's quite unorthodox. His defense is almost non-existent. Is very, very leaky. He's quite a predictable fighter in the ring. But he does carries. He's okay. He's kind of one of those fighters that's he's not really a world level fighter, but somehow he's got a world title. He's very limited in what he can do. He's a powerful puncher. He's quite unorthodox, but he's also very, very hittable. So he's one of those guys that you would say is kind of an accident waiting to happen. And he got exposed fully by Javante Tank Davis, and I would say Ismael Barroso got KO'd by Javante Tank Davis just by being predictable, leaving his chin up in the air. He does a lot of things wrong, does Rolly Romero. He's like kind of an average boxer, but I'd say he's got sort of good power. He's got good, respectable power that he can take you out if you're not switched on. So as far as this fight goes, for me, I lean towards Isaac Cruz, quite heavily towards Isaac Cruz, just sort of outworking Pitbull. Sorry, not Pitbull. What am I talking? I'm talking about Pitbull. I mean, outworking Rolly Romero. I just lean towards Isaac Cruz from the opening bell, just sort of outworking, outfighting Rolly Romero. I don't think Rolly Romero is going to have any answers to the pressure. I think the one chance that Rolly Romero has is if he can manage to catch Isaac Pitbull Cruz on the way in. I think if he can sort of turn counter puncher and sort of obviously he doesn't throw a lot of punches. Rolly Romero is not really like a workhorse in there, whereas Cruz really works and throws punch lots of combinations. Very tidy and clean with his work. Good, good fighter. Um, but I think that the only way I can see Rolly Romero winning this is if he kind of turns counter puncher and he tries to sort of work behind a good jab, which is unusual in his case, But I think what he's got to do is he's got to, turn counterpuncher, turn more of a conventional boxer, and use your jab. Try to always be catching Isaac Cruz on the way in. As soon as he make him pay every time he comes in with a good jab. Try to sort of double up your jab. That's something that I always like to say because that's one of the things I was taught back in the days as a young fighter. You always get taught this thing of jabbing and double jabbing, and that sort of discouraging your opponent. And I think for for Rolly, that's what he's got to do. He's got to use a hard, stiff jab and sort of double it up, and sort of what he's got to do is he's got to kind of disrupt the rhythm of Isaac Cruz. He's got to sort of disrupt Pitbull's rhythm and try to give him a jab to every single time he comes in and make him have to sort of reset, and don't allow Isaac Cruz to sort of get into his groove and be landing punches and be sort of all over you and putting pressure on you. You've got to kind of stop him in his tracks as he comes in, meet him with a counter jab or a counter right hand every time he comes in. For me, that's the sort of tactics that Rolly Romero's got to employ. He's got to kind of turn counter puncher and disrupt Isaac Cruz. Don't let him just come in and sort of work away and have his way with you, because you're going to lose rounds when you do that. And for Cruz, he's got to the opposite. He's got to get right up on Rolly Romero, throw his combinations from up close. He's got to work away at the body, keep landing with them hooks to the body from the word go, from early in the fly, and try to sort of wear Rolly Romero down so that when it gets to the later rounds, he can take Rolly Romero out. That, for me, that would be the tactics, which is pretty much what I'm sure he's going to do anyway. He's going to go in there and sort of, throw his punches in bunches, throw his combinations. I think he's got to just work that body, slow Rolly Romero down, and just keep on him, keep working away, keep chipping away at him, keep chopping the tree down, keep chopping and chopping and chopping away at that body, and the head will follow. So yeah, for me, I think what we're going to see is not Rolly Romero. I mean, Isaac Pitbull Cruz. I think he's going to take this on points, unless there's some sort of robbery or anything like that. I think for me, Isaac Cruz is just too busy for Rolly Romero, and I don't think Rolly Romero is gonna sort of work hard enough to keep Isaac Cruz off. I don't think he's going to have the know-how to sort of turn counterpunch to give Isaac Cruz enough to think about to keep him off. I just think Isaac Cruz is not going to just walk through Rolly Romero, because Rolly Romero is a tough guy. He's a tough kid. But I just think Isaac Cruz is going to outwork him, and he's going to outpoint him. Who knows? Maybe even a late stoppage. But for me, I think this is going to be a points victory for Isaac Pitbull Cruz. He's going to deal with him. It might be a harder fight than what we think, but I think the winner is going to be Isaac Cruz. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. And until next time, it's MKO Pugilism over and out. Catch you next time.